Hi everyone. So I'm doing this mid-month wrap-up because if I do a end-of-month wrap-up, it's probably going to be too long. So far this month in October, it's been very mediocre. Very mediocre reading. And I was listening to Slipknot before I decided to film this because I am just in a pissed off mood. So when I have that, you know, when I get pissed off, I need to listen to some metal. So yeah. So I may do a little ranting because some of the books I read were just yeah. So the first book I read this month is this one, Notorious Pleasures. This is a part of the, what's it again? Maiden Lane series, book 2 in the Maiden Lane series. This is a 2. And it's a shame because it's got a pretty cover. The step back is really pretty, you know. So, there's cheating in this book. She has a fucking fiance. A fiance. And she decides to sleep with her fiance's brother while she's still engaged. And there was rumors that Griffin, who's the brother, that he was, you know, he had an affair. There was the rumors that he had an affair with his brother's wife. And the child that she had, because her and the baby died, and they were saying like, oh, that was Griffin's baby. He denies it, but it kind of looks like people's suspicions are confirmed when you are found out to be sleeping with the man's fiance. And then she goes in Hero, which she isn't a hero. Such a shitty name. Decides to tell her fiance, I think there's different terms. There's marquesses, which I think is Marquess, and then there's marquise. Now, I believe he's a marquis because it's Marquis. So I think it's marquis. Correct me if I'm wrong. But she tells him that she's been sleeping with basically his brother. So he goes and he smacks her in the face and calls her a W-H-O-R-E. Then she breaks off her engagement. And he's like, oh no, we're going forward. And I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? And then the Marquis decides to go to his mistress and tell her, oh, he loves her. Okay, why were you going to get married if you so loved your mistress? Yeah, you wanted to have your cake and eat it too, because that's what a lot of the men did back in the day, was get married for status, because that's basically what it was, popularity, status, you know, even today, people do that. And then he wanted to have the mistress on the side. Yeah. So, yeah, I gave this a 2 because it sucked. Not good. And it makes me leery about reading the rest of the series. Yeah. So, didn't like that one at all. So the next one Does It Hurt? By what's the author's name again? H.D. Carlton. This was trash. This was trash. And I'm tired of these little tweens, these young people on TikTok. And I don't follow TikTok anymore. But yet people keep recommending these trash books from TikTok. The shit's trash. It's not, there's no good plotting, no good storyline. It's just about the sex. And that is so shallow. So, anybody who wants to recommend me a TikTok book, I question your sanity. I really do. Because a lot of it's garbage. Garbage. And so, this one here, I decided to delve in. And this dumb bitch, Sawyer, is an identity thief. There's no redeemable qualities to her. She is an identity thief. I'm supposed to feel sorry for her? So she's an identity thief. She steals this guy's Enzo's identity. Before that, they were banging it out underneath a waterfall. And, oh yeah, he has a big penis, so that's what's his, claim to fame is, he's got a big penis and he's good at sex. And then, after she goes and has sex with him again at his place, she steals his identity, gets a credit card in the dude's name. He finds out about it, pretends to not know about it when they meet again on a beach. He takes her on his boat. He bangs her from behind, doggy style, and then shoves her face in water with sharks. Then, because the dumbass is too busy putting the P in the V, he doesn't pay attention to the weather, and they get shipwrecked. And they're then in this old lighthouse with this old man. And the dude locks them in their room at like 9 o'clock at night. Red flag, ding, ding, ding. So yeah, it's weird. This story was so stupid and weird. And I was just like, I gave it 3 stars. But honestly, I wanted to give it a 1 and say that it was utter garbage. Because it was. Yeah, not good. Not good. Seriously, do not recommend any more TikTok books, people. Do not recommend them. Because this stuff is trash. Just because you like it doesn't mean everyone else is going to like it. So, yeah, this is not good. It was not good. Then, the next one, which I actually liked. This is the one good book I actually liked this month. So I read Revved to the Max. This is a Reynolds Restorations book number 1 by Melanie Moreland. I will read more from this author because I did like this book. I gave it 4 stars. So we've got Charlene and Maxx. Now, Charlene is currently in a predicament where she's dealing with I think they said the landlord, but I honestly want to say manager, but it could be a landlord. This guy basically comes to her and say, hey, you're 3 months behind on your rent. And she's like, what are you talking about? I give my rent money to my roommate every month. And he's like, yeah, she's been doing sexual favors for me. And she blew all the money. Meanwhile, the roommate is just flew the coop with, all of, Charlene, she goes by Charlie, all of Charlie's stuff, money, all that stuff, wiped clean. So this guy proceeds to tell her that if she doesn't do sexual favors for him, that, he will kick her out. So she's like, oh, heck no, not going to do that. This guy's a freaking creeper. So he keeps coming to her door. And she's obviously terrified because it's like this guy could walk in, he's got the key, could walk in at any freaking time and like sexually assault her or something, Totally understand where this woman's coming from. So she has to literally take a butter knife and shove it in her door so this motherfucker doesn't go and, try to come in, Oh, honestly, there's a reason why I have a baseball bat underneath my bed. Let some mother effer come into my home and think they're gonna assault me. It's the last thing they're gonna do. So she goes and does a couple of things. What I was like, good for you, girl. Good for you, girl. So she has a mail slot in her door, and he's like being really just nasty. So she goes and she took like this stick she had and shoved it underneath like the door or whatever it is and got his foot, because he walks around all the time like barefoot. Dude's a fucking douche. So walks around barefoot, and she got him in the foot, and then she gets him again in like the balls, and I'm like, oh yes, girl, yes, yes, take him down, take down those backup singers. So she gets out of that situation and decides to go and apply for this job at this place that the guy's looking for, like a cook, someone who can handle like his accounting and all that stuff, because he owns this like restoration automobile place, you know, basically like mechanics and all that stuff. He does other things. He really wants to do like restorations and stuff like that. That's like really where his passion lies. But right now he's kind of handling the other like day-to-day things, like doing oil changes, you know, like rotating tires, whatever else, you know, you do. So he needs someone kind of like handle his business stuff, and he's really kind of like lost. So they talk, like communicate online. He thinks she's a dude because she says, call me Charlie. And so he thinks she's a guy. She thinks he's like this ornery, like old man. So she heads to this one town before she gets to the smaller town. She heads to this one town, and ends up running into this guy named Reynolds. And so they hit it off really good. This other guy before Reynolds like was kind of helping her out. This other guy was like a real douche, and he was being like really nasty to her. So she's dealing with like two douches in this book, you know? And so Reynolds kind of like shoos him away, like, fuck off, dude. And so her and, you know, Reynolds hit it off, and they have like a one-night stand, you know? They didn't think anything else was going to come of it. The next day, she's waiting at the bus, and he comes up, you know, and sees this young guy sitting next to her, and he's like, hey, get your shit, let's go. And this guy's like, I don't know you. And it's like, what are you talking about? I don't know you. And so they figure it out. Charlie and him, Maxx, figure it out, like, oh, she's working for me. And he's just like, nope. And walks away. And so she finally convinces him, like, hey, give me a chance. You know, I didn't realize, you know, who you were last night. Give me a chance to prove to you. So he's like, fine, I'll give you 2 weeks to kind of like prove yourself. And he quickly falls. He quickly falls for her. And he doesn't want to, because he's got some drama, you know. His parents died like the year before. He's dealing with like some ex drama. So I mean, he's a little like once bitten, twice shy. Completely understand where he's coming from. So he was a bit grumpy. I definitely want to call him a s'more, because even though he was a bit like hard, you know, kind of like on the outside, in the inside he was really sweet and gooey. So he's definitely a s'more. I liked him a lot. Yeah, even though he was a grumpy little shit, he just, you know, just started like worshiping her, just loved her, you know, absolutely loved her. And so I really liked this one. I thought it was really good, and it's the one highlight of my month so far is that book right there. All the rest is just blah. So yeah, I really liked that one. It was really cute. Small town romance. I love mechanics, guys who work with their hands. I don't know what it is, but that's such a turn on for me when it comes to reading a book. Guy knows how to work with his hands. Yes, please. Yes, please. So the next book that was disappointing for me was this one. So When You Wish Upon a Duke. So I realized this author is not for me. So I don't think I want to read any more books from this author. She's okay. it's kind of, the story was very mediocre, very boring to me. I was just bored throughout most of this book. Some stuff I thought was good, but it just really, it lacked in a lot of ways because there wasn't enough, I didn't feel like a love connection between these characters. So you've got like this story of, her name is Isabel Tinker, and it's basically like doing almost like a reimagining of like Tinkerbell and Peter Pan and all that stuff, and Hook and all that. So she works at this travel agency, and her boss his last name is Hook. Guy's a real creeper. And so she ends up seeing this guy kind of creeping around the travel agency. And she's like looking, and I'm like, why does he keep looking in here? So she confronts him, and he is basically telling her like, hey, I'm a duke. Is there any way you could help me? Because I know you lived in like Iceland for a while. So is there any way you can kind of like help me navigate Iceland a bit? Because his cousin got captured by pirates. So it's basically her helping him out, and they start to kind of fall in love. I really just didn't believe that she loved him. It just didn't see it. I kind of saw it as like, most of the time she's felt trapped. Also, there was a trigger warning in here for loss of a child. Like, she had a miscarriage. So that was kind of like, oh, you know, like, reading about that I don't like. And she had gotten together with this guy named Peter, and the guy was just, he was using her, just totally using her just for, you know, a hole, basically. Because he really didn't want her, you know, she was just convenient, you know. And meanwhile, he wanted this other chick, and the other chick, like, had split for a little while. Then she came back, and he was just like, bye, Isabel, kicks her out the door. And meanwhile, she got pregnant with Peter's child. And I'm like, this guy's a douche. So, yeah, I liked North. He fell for her, like, really quickly. He was just obsessed with her. But I just didn't feel the connection from the other way. You know, I didn't feel it with her. I felt like she was kind of like a block of wood. Just really disappointed, you know? And I just realized this author is just not for me. I just, no. Unfortunately, no. I won't be reading any more from Charis Michaels. So, yeah. Then the next book I ended up reading was The Enemy. This is Ghost Town Riders book number 5 by Amelia Shea. I've kind of like gone back and forth with, I usually like to start from the beginning of a series and kind of work my way up. But when it comes to motorcycle like romances, I don't always like them. A lot of times they're very disappointing to me. And so I tend to like, I'd rather just skip through and say, well, this one sounds interesting, I'll delve into this one. So the third book in that series, I think it was the third book. Yeah, the third book in the series I liked. I liked that one. The fourth book was kind of more disappointing to me. I was really bored with it. And then this one here, same thing. The Enemy. This is basically, Case is like he's the president of the MC, you know, of the club. So him and his other buddies, of the club, had decided to put themselves into this town called Ghost Town. And so they want to, you know, renovate it, get it kind of like, you know, have like more money coming in for the town, because it was pretty much like a sleepy town. A lot of old people live there. And so more younger people have kind of like been coming in. And so it's made some of the locals really mad because they don't want basically outsiders coming into their town. And they don't want like this motorcycle club in there either, because they're like, they don't trust them. They think they're going to be doing illegal activity, which I kind of can understand. But also, like, if you have a dead town, that town will end up losing its funding, and there'll be nothing. There'll be no town there, you know, and then someone else will buy up that, you know, that land and have a different town. So for me, it's like, unfortunately, when it comes to the city, like city hall and stuff, they're going to do what they think is best for the town. So that's basically what happened with the mayor. The mayor's like, hey, we're going to do what we can to kind of like bring more money and things like that, more funding into this town. So they have their club there. They're trying to remain like legitimate, hence why they, you know, try to renovate the town and get the town flourishing, because they're trying to get out of illegal activity and basically go legitimate and, you know, do things by the book and all that stuff. So, so they're doing that, but Case really likes this one piece of property, and he keeps getting a hold of the owner, like, hey, sell me your, you know, piece of land, and owner's pretty much saying like, F off, you know, ain't gonna happen. So Phoebe is the owner. She decides to come back. So she was gone for a little bit. She ended up assaulting one of the crabby, nasty neighbors, you know, her next door neighbor. He's a real dirtbag. Guy's a real piece of crap. Just nasty to her. Just saying all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. I'm like, you know, shut up, old man. You know, you're just being really nasty. You know, you don't need to, you know, go down that road and just be like a nasty neighbor. Just mind your business. Stay in your freaking house. So he's really nasty. Old, angry old man. And so she ended up like assaulting him. Don't condone that either. I will just say, girl, you need to handle your anger, because assaulting an old man ain't gonna help you. So she ends up going to jail for like, I think, a couple of days or so. But she was trying to handle like her ex's finances and different things like that, because her ex really just screwed her, you know, royally screwed her. He ended up like dying, like probably had a heart attack in his mistress's bed. And so she had to go and handle all the debt that he accumulated throughout their marriage. She had no idea. So she's trying to handle all that stuff. So now this dude, you know, comes to her and is like harassing her basically and saying like, I want to buy your property. So of course I completely understand where she's like, no, you know. So he's like teams her as like, oh, she's my enemy now. And I'm like, dude, you're the one that was being aggressive. So, you know, kind of can't blame her. And so it was basically them getting together. And like I said, it was okay. I wasn't really impressed with it though. I thought most of the time, I really thought Case was just an a-hole. I thought he was a real a-hole. And he did some underhanded stuff. He did things like not communicating with her properly, and I can understand why she'd get mad, you know? So I'm like, dude, you are not good at this. You are not good at this. So yeah, he really kind of irritated me, kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I was just like, if you properly communicated with her and told her your intentions, maybe she would have reacted a little better than how she reacted. So just saying, maybe you should communicate better. So yeah, that one there, I ended up giving it a 3 because it was just, you know, mediocre. It was okay. So the next ones, so I ended up picking up manga like months ago because I wanted to see if I liked manga, or at least romance manga. I don't think it's for me. Maybe I'll find like a manga that I actually like, but so far with like manga romance, not really, So I picked up this one here. This is Sweat and Soap, and this guy's really obsessed with her like body chemistry, her scent, you know. So she goes and she's working for this company that they make soap. And so he's basically like the scent designer. He comes up with the scents and all that stuff. And so he smells the scent on her and he's just like, you know, like breathing it all in. And I'm just like, dude, chill. You are you're a creeper. You're creeping people out, man. So he goes and he's just like sniffing her all the time, and then they start getting like sexually involved, and I'm like, okay. it seemed like she was like reluctant to like sleep with the guy, and I'm like, girl, you have a voice, just tell him you're not interested in him sexually. It just, yeah, it's like they started like making out and then they're having sex, and I'm just like, I don't see the connection. She seems a bit like weak and meek and all this stuff, and I don't know if maybe that's just the culture, you know, like the women are all like meek and everything, but you know, here in America, us women we're loud. We're loud. We are definitely like F off, you know, kind of thing. So I think it's kind of, maybe it's a cultural thing. I don't know. But yeah, I was like, she doesn't seem to be into it much, you know? And it's like, there's these women who are like, you see them in these books and they're all like, oh, I shouldn't like this, but I do. And it's like, girl, just, you know, we're meant to have pleasure. I mean, that's how our bodies work. You know, us as humans, we are meant to have pleasure with our sex, you know, with being intimate with somebody. We're meant to have pleasure. Most of us do. Some of us don't, which is a shame. But I'm like, we're meant to, you know, have a good time sexually, you know, with your partner and all that stuff. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing icky or dirty about it or shameful. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's the culture or what, but for me, I'm just like, I don't know. She doesn't really seem into it. And it's like, I wouldn't want to pressure somebody into something they don't want to do, you know, because it's, yeah. For me, it was just, the dude came off really creepy, and I'm just like, I don't know, I really felt into this one here. So, this one here, Yakuza Lover, I don't know. It's kind of the same thing, where it's like, she kind of just seems like all like meek, and I don't know if that's like the culture, they like the damsel in distress kind of thing. I kind of over like the damsel in distress. It's kind of annoying at this point. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's maybe like me. It's just me. I'm just not into like manga. But it's okay. I mean, I will say like the anime, like the drawings and stuff, it's good. It has really good anime in here. But I'm not really into the story. You know, and this guy here, he's basically like a mafia dude. And she gets involved with him like very quickly. They get really sexual, and I'm just like, dang, man, there's like no build up or anything. It's just boom, they're having sex, and I'm like, okay. So yeah, it was, both of them were kind of the same thing. There really was no build up to like any kind of relationship or like romance. It was basically went from like they just met to now they're banging, and I'm just like, okay. I don't really consider these romances, you know? So, I don't know if maybe I would get into, like, another type of manga, like, more, maybe I'd be more interested in, like, the manga that's, maybe more action, you know, more action-packed. I might like that a little bit better, but yeah, this one here just seemed like, you know, like, Asian porn, you know, basically. And I'm just like, I don't know. I just don't really dig that. So I don't think I want to pick up any more manga romance. I think for me, I would rather just pick up, you know, action-packed. Like, I wouldn't mind getting into Death Note, because that looks kind of interesting. I don't know if you'd consider it manga. Probably not. But I mean, it's definitely animation, you know, like anime. Because I really like the books. When I go to the manga section, Death Note is there. And I look at the books, I'm like, man, that art is just awesome. I just love the artwork. So I think I might pick up the book and just read it because it sounds interesting. So I'll probably get into that. I might be more into like maybe manga horror or like, you know, anything that's like action. I'd probably be more into that type of books, you know. So I have to check around the manga section and see, like, is there anything that looks interesting to me that's, like, adult, that would sound good to me? I might go into, like, my local Barnes & Noble and kind of look around and say, well, let me check this out, you know, and see. Because I don't know, I just wasn't really digging the romance. I just didn't feel the connection between the characters, and I don't like the meekness between the heroines. It's just kind of like, you know. So yeah, that's it. It's a very mediocre month so far. I'm kind of not really in a book rut. The last book I read, I DNF'd it because I didn't like it. I wouldn't say I'm in a book, you know, slump. I think I definitely need to reread some of my old favorites right now. I'm just kind of like in that mood to reread some other stuff. And then also, I think I might start delving into non-romance related books, maybe. I don't know, maybe I could delve into one of my like thriller books or something, because I've been really just not feeling romance this month. It's just not really working for me. And everything just seemed very mediocre. The relationships seem very shallow. And I'm just like, I don't know. I want something to connect to. Something I could really sink my teeth into and really like. And there was only like that one book that I really enjoyed this month. Everything else is just like, eh. And it's a shame because I really wanted to like have a good month, you know? And so far, just, no. And it's made me pissed off. It's just really made me pissed off and angry. And I just want to listen to some like hardcore metal screaming and get out my frustration, you know, because I've been really just not liking my reading this month. So yeah, I'm hoping with that, with maybe like changing up my genre, you know, and maybe reading some old favorites will kind of like put me in a better mood. I'm hoping that will be the case, that I can get in a better mood, because this month has really been sucking. So I can't wait for Halloween. I'll just say that. I can't wait for Halloween, trick-or-treating, because I want to go out for a walk with my kids and get some candy. They've been really wanting to do like, you know, Halloween this year. My eldest daughter is going to be, I can't remember his name, but he's like the male character from Demon Slayer. I think it's his sister that turns into like a vampire or something. I can't remember his name. I think it starts with an N. I have to ask her what his name is again, so I can find it. But yeah, she's going to be that for Halloween. She wanted to be the other character, the female, but I was like, oh girl, let's go to Spirit Halloween and see what we can find. So we found that character. She's like, oh, I want to be that. I'm like, all right, we're going to be that. So she's got like a katana and everything. So she's going to be, you know, styling. Only thing we can't do is like the earrings. He's got these earrings in his ears. So, can't do that. She doesn't have her ears pierced yet. And then my youngest is going to be Tails from, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog. So she's got like this whole Tails costume. So it'll be fun. I'll be happy when it's Halloween and I can, you know, go trick-or-treating with my kids. That's like the highlight of, you know, Halloween is like going trick-or-treating, get candy, seeing them laugh and have a good time. So yeah, I can't wait for that. And for the friggin' holidays to come and go, because I've been like just not liking the rest of this year, and just like, you know, some years are kind of for me and other years are better. So this is kind of like an year. So we'll see. But yeah, that's it for this video here. Have yourselves a good day. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other. And I will see you all on the next video. All right. Bye.